Hello everyone, I'm Dr. William Small, the Money Mentor, and I'm the founder of Dr. Wealth Enterprises and the host of Wealth Builder Seminars in Dallas, Texas. I'm going to be sharing some valuable information in this video for free that you wouldn't receive in some of the best business schools. The only thing that I need you to do in return from me is to hit the subscribe and share buttons below. All right? Amen. Now I want to give credit to Anthony O'Neill from the AO channel. He inspired me to post this video on fear because I want to add some information to what he presented that I think folks might like to hear. So please subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of interesting videos on finances and business. So if you like this channel, I'm sure you'll love his. All right? Amen. Now, the primary topic of this video is how to overcome fear. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. We were born with only two fears, ladies and gentlemen, and that is the fear of a loud noise and the fear of falling. Most people learn to overcome these fears as they grow up and mature, but some don't. Once you grow out of these two fears, you should be free, right? So how does so many of us get to the point where we fear failure, fear making mistakes, or fear speaking in public? Why do people break out in a cold sweat when they're asked to speak to even the smallest audience? And it's because we were conditioned to develop this fear of speaking as children by always being told to be quiet. It began in kindergarten, where the teachers constantly reminded us to not raise our voice, to speak with our inside voice, or to be quiet. Now that sounds necessary to maintain general order and discipline. However, the subtle implication that came with that message too often was children ought to be seen and not heard, or nobody wants to hear what you have to say anyway. So we develop this fear of speaking because of our fear of failure and our fear that nobody will want to hear what we have to say. Now, I'm also concerned that so many people have a fear of speaking in public because I believe that everyone was born to do something special and everyone has a message that is worthy to be heard. So I believe that it's time for everyone to start working on overcoming their fear of public speaking so that you can also be heard. God gave chickens a beak to peck through the eggshell that they were born in and to break free. When you were born, God gave you the power to break through any obstacle, situation, or circumstance that could confine you. You were born to be successful and to do something special to make the world a better place that no one is uniquely equipped to do but you. However, somewhere along the way, we got sidelined from being powerful to being also, or to believe that it's normal to be like everyone else and to do what everyone else does. The problem is everyone, for the most part, has put limitations on what they can do and be, so they end up being mediocre instead of powerful. This is something that they decided to do, so in order to go from mediocre to powerful, they must make another decision to overcome the limitations that they put on themselves. Therefore, the primary obstacle that every person must overcome is their self. Brothers and sisters, once you are able to overcome you, there is no other obstacle strong enough to stop you. Now, there are secondary obstacles that you must overcome that try to place limitations on you, such as family, friends, the education system, the entertainment system, society, cultural norms, and social media. Those limitations are more easily overcome once you recognize their negative impact on your life, but the hardest thing to do is to overcome you. However, after you've overcome yourself, believe it or not, there is a pot of gold waiting for you on the other side of that obstacle. When I was a boy, I was all boy and a straight up young warrior, so I loved to read stories and watch movies about war, superheroes, and mythology such as Jason and the Argonauts, Hercules, and so on. And I noticed in the stories on mythology, a common theme always emerged that was similar to many of the action movies today. Reluctant hero saves the day and get the girl, right? So the theme of the stories on mythology is there was always a hero that went on a quest to find his reason for being. In the process, he always had to face a formidable beast that he had to defeat in order to reach his destiny. And that beast was always guarding a massive treasure and holding on to a beautiful woman captive. And once the hero defeated the beast, he got to marry the woman and possess the treasure. Invariably, the hero learned the lesson that the beast was simply symbolic of something within himself that he had to overcome in order to be what he was created to be. And the moral of the story would always seem to be that at the end of the day, the only thing that had been stopping the hero from reaching his destiny and becoming wealthy was himself. He had been the primary obstacle in his life, and it was his own internal fears and insecurities that were the enemy or the enemy, which he had to overcome in order to be the best man he could be and reach his destiny. Brothers and sisters, if you can overcome the obstacle of self-imposed fears, you can fulfill your purpose, reach your destiny, and become abundantly wealthy. Now, it's said that courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to face the adversity and drive on in spite of fear. My experience with training people to be their best selves has taught me that too many people have a fear of failure. A lot of people won't pursue success because they fear failure. So I had to teach them that they shouldn't be pursuing success anyway, but rather to be excellent or to be the best at what they do. I had to teach them that excellence is the result of perseverance over failure, and excellence comes right after you fall 8 times and get up 9. If you can learn to pick yourself up and dust yourself up and start all over again after you fall, you will achieve excellence and you will never have to worry about success. Now, fear can be a frustrator, motivator, and debilitator, and fear can lead you to achieve in some cases and cause you to resign in others. Now, the difference between resignation and achievement is what you choose to do at the moment that fear arises in your heart. Every entrepreneur and business owner goes through this when they are at the point where they believe they might go out of business. Now, I know entrepreneurs and business people where their point of resignation lasted for 2 whole years. However, they had to drive through resignation and fear every day until they arrived at the point of achievement or reach their goal of creating a sustainable and scalable business. So remember, the pain of what you experience once you reach your goal will never be as great as what you had to go through to get there. And many people never get there because they don't have the tolerance or capacity for pain. Most of the pain that entrepreneurs endure during the growth process of their business is called growing pains. And you can't reach your goals unless you can endure growing pains. Okay, so again, in order to achieve your goals, you also have to grow past your weaknesses and limitations. Self-imposed limitations are mental and emotional, not actual. And self-imposed limitations are states of mind, not states of being. So once you reach the point where you begin to believe that you cannot be or do or achieve something, you're right. You will only be able to achieve whatever you can believe. Therefore, the old axiom is true that says the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't are both right. And this is why I always say that if you want to change your money, you must first change your mind, okay? You cannot become your best self or achieve abundant wealth when you are mentally limiting yourself. Now, I know how to help ordinary employees transform into entrepreneurs because of my experience as a U.S. Army drill sergeant, where I had to turn civilians into soldiers. Now, one of the things you must do to transform a civilian into a soldier is force him or her to overcome fear, because there's no place for fear on the battlefield. So in order to force a person to overcome their fear of heights, for example, I had to make them climb a log ladder where the top was about 50 feet off the ground and the space between logs got progressively wider. So in order to successfully complete the obstacle, a person had to climb up over the top of the log and then climb back down. Now, in the military, you follow orders or pay the consequences, which could include jail, but the consequence most soldiers tried to avoid at all costs was the ridicule of their peers, so they would always find the courage to do what they always believed that they couldn't do or were too afraid to do. Overcoming self-imposed limitations such as the fear of heights requires moving past the point of mental and emotional exhaustion to determination. In order to get some of the people to climb that ladder who were definitely afraid to, I had to push them past the point of mental and emotional exhaustion. I let their peers watch me pressure them intensely while accusing them of being a punk, a coward, or a sissy. And their peers who had already climbed the ladder would be encouraging them and cheering them on with the Nike slogan, "Just do it." And eventually the pressure from their leader and the pushing from their peers would make the person become determined to prove that they could do it. Now, even though they were still afraid to fall while climbing that ladder, they overcame their fear and did it anyway. The truth is, there is no such thing as a fear of heights, ladies and gentlemen, only a fear of falling. There is no such thing as a fear of flying, only a fear of crashing. And once you overcome the self-imposed fear of falling, you will no longer have a fear of heights. And once you overcome the fear of pain, you will start to develop a higher level of tolerance for pain. And once you overcome the fear of failure, you are ready to be an entrepreneur. Failing is a natural part of the entrepreneur's growth process, and failing does not make you a failure. And we don't fail in life and love and business, ladies and gentlemen, because what we know. We fail because what we don't know. Failing gives you the opportunity to learn what you didn't know that you didn't know, and then profit from that knowledge. You only become a failure when you give up, cave in, and quit. Failure and learning from failing are the most important parts of an entrepreneur's growth process. And if you quit at the point of failure, whatever you were building or the plant you were cultivating will stop growing and die. Now, I used to love watermelon when I was a kid, okay? I could eat a whole watermelon by myself. And there were 10 people in my family, 8 children and 2 parents, so the most I could ever get was 1 slice. And of course I wanted more, so I decided to plant some of the seeds in the yard to see if I could grow my own watermelon. I planted the seeds and waited a week and nothing happened. I waited another week and nothing happened. After the 3rd week, I decided to dig up the seeds to see if it had started growing. And sure enough, a seedling had begun to grow. So I got excited and I covered it all back up. Then I waited a week and nothing happened. I waited another week and nothing happened. So I decided to dig up the seed again to see what was happening. And I discovered that the seedling was dead. I learned that by digging it up, I had destroyed the growth process and killed the seedling. The same thing happens to entrepreneurs when they don't see their business growing or they experience failure because of what they didn't know. They destroy the process or kill the business by giving up and quitting. Now, again, we don't fail in life, love, and business because of what we know. We fail because of what we don't know. And over 50% of the marriages fail because most people don't know that there is a difference between getting married and becoming married. Getting married is a one-day event. Becoming married is a painful process that takes about 3 to 5 years to complete, depending on the maturity level of the couple. Divorce is initiated when one or both people decide that they no longer want to endure the painful process of becoming married, so the marriage dies. Now, on a side note, I caution new business people not to form a partnership if they don't understand the growth process, and forming a business partnership is the same as becoming married. If one partner decides that they no longer want to be in a business marriage, it can ruin the other partner financially. And I also caution entrepreneurs that it will take about 3 painful years to become a startup or to go from idea to achievement, so they won't divorce the idea and give up and cave in or quit. Now, in order to grow a business marriage to the point where it is profitable, sustainable, and scalable, it must be built on 5 competencies. Number 1, networks and relationships. Number 2, marketing. Number 3, technology. Number 4, hiring. And number 5, investing. In order to grow your business around a product, you must find a network of people that you know, that know what you don't know, who can introduce you to those who you don't know, that can help you build a relationship with them. If your business is a service, you have to network to get work, and you have to build your business through prior business relationships by getting referrals. And the advantages that you have in a partnership are the same ones that you have in a marriage: division of labor and economy of scale. In a marriage, 2 can live cheaper than 1, and you can split up the chores, which gives you more time to make money. In a partnership, you can save time and money by splitting up the responsibilities. But now, you can split up the responsibilities, but you can't split the knowledge. Okay, both partners must understand how to market your product or service in a way that makes people want it. It's imperative for both partners to understand all the technologies that are available to help create exponential growth. It's critical for both of them to know how to identify and hire people who have the right set of knowledge, gifts, talents, and skills that can help them grow. And they both need to know and agree on when it's the right time to seek investors to grow their business, along with who will be the right investor for them to work with. Now, let's talk about the fear of death real quick, and we're out, okay? Do you realize that if you can overcome the fear of death, you're no longer afraid to die? There's nothing anybody can do to threaten you. What do entrepreneurship, resurrection, and reincarnation have in common? Some people are serial entrepreneurs, and some people are just serial business killers, okay? But a true entrepreneur is a cat that has 9 business lives. If he dies, he's gonna come back again, and if he falls, he'll always land on his feet. And finally, remember that you cannot win big in business being conservative. You cannot be afraid to push the envelope and do things that nobody else has done. You must have the courage to do it, and then do it better than anyone else has done it. Okay, the 2 primary fears that young business owners have, I've seen, that keeps them struggling financially, is their fear of not fitting in or being different. True entrepreneurs have a larger than normal capacity to achieve their financial goals because they are not afraid to be different. They are not afraid to be the first one or the only one doing something. And true entrepreneurs reap the wealth that is due to those who are innovators, founders, and explorers. And entrepreneurs get to be on or go to the top first because they have no fear of going first or being exposed and standing out. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand that most of the limitations that we have came through the limitations established for us by our teachers, family and friends, and community. The rest came through messages that we receive repetitively from social media, radio, and TV. And the goal of a sitcom, for example, is to condition you on how to think and behave and believe in a particular situation. The message for that day may be, it's not good to lie, but in this situation, it's okay. And after nearly 50 years of watching sitcoms daily, our nation has developed from a people of high moral character and integrity to a population that largely govern their lives by situational ethics. Television has a lot to do with the limitations that we place on ourselves, and there's a reason why they call TV programming or television. Television is a process where producers and advertisers tell you the vision that they have for your life, and advertisers need you to be weak and dependent to get you to spend your money, so they use programming to condition you to be weak mentally through repetitive messaging. The average TV commercial has one of 5 primary messages, and that is you're hungry, you're fat, you're not good enough, you're sick, and you stink. Thus, the average American is obese from overeating, which leads to illnesses and body odor and low self-esteem. And we fall prey to what they say or the axioms of conventional wisdom. Therefore, we become mediocre like they are, and we end up getting what the convention always has gotten, which is nothing. However, we can break through these limitations if we choose to. And again, the primary obstacle that you must overcome is yourself. And once you're able to overcome yourself, there is no obstacle strong enough to stop you. The Navy SEAL 40% rule states that when your mind is telling you that you're done and that you're exhausted and you cannot possibly go any further, you're only actually 40% done. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, so you must make your mind control your body instead of allowing your body to control your mind. You've got to consistently or constantly challenging yourself to push beyond your mental and physical limitations to become the powerful person that God created you to be. You must stop listening to people telling you what you can't do and push yourself to do those things that you are afraid to do or never thought you would be able to do. In 1924, conventional wisdom said that it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile. That is until Roger Bannister defied conventional wisdom and broke the 4-minute mile. No one ever believed that it was possible to run the 100-meter dash in under 10 seconds until Jim Hines proved them wrong at the 1968 Olympics. And right now, people are skeptical as to whether the marathon can be run in under 2 hours. But the American marathon runner Ryan Hall ran it in 2:04 at the Boston Marathon, and Kenya's Dennis Kimeto ran it in 2:02 at the Berlin Marathon. So it appears to me that someone running a sub 2-hour marathon is just a matter of time. Okay? Now, people who dare to push past their self-imposed mental limitations have been able to accomplish some amazing physical feats. Today, we have both men and women participating in Ironman triathlon events that are a series of grueling long-distance races consisting of a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and a 26-mile run, non-stop in that order. And how often has women been told that they can't do that or do what men do? And how often have we seen women push past those limitations to do what everybody said couldn't be done? So I'm asking you, yes, you with that bag of Doritos and chip dip, how long are you going to let other people be mentally and physically tougher than you? If you're going to be a wealthy business owner, you must first break out of the mentality that allowed you to remain in employee captivity. Most people become employees due to their fear of failure and their need for security. And it takes a certain mindset to be an employee, and it takes a certain mindset to be a business owner. So before you leave your job to start a business, you must make sure that you are free of the employee mentality and that you no longer have a need for someone to tell you what to do. Employee captivity, ladies and gentlemen, is a self-imposed limitation. You can push that past that limitation if you want to, and the journey to financial freedom begins with breaking free from mental captivity. And the journey to business excellence requires that you first acquire a business mind and then mind your business. Well, that's all that I have for now. Please don't forget to subscribe and share, and I'll be back with something new that nobody ever told you. Until then, remember that God loves you, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'll see you next time on Wealth Builder Seminars.